Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Glad you're here. We're excited to talk with you. Man, it's been just a fun week of all kinds of things. Danny and I have been involved with just life in general, and also too just going to share some HomeDadCon stuff with you as the clock continues to tick down, and we just want to make sure that everybody's on the page and aware of what's going on, so you don't miss out.
Yep.
How was a week for you? How was your week last week, man? I saw that you got out into the great outdoors.
Yeah. Went out to Lake Winnebago. Basically talked with, there was a canceled winter trip with the Milwaukee Dad Group, and was mentioned it to Sean Diddy from Dad Ass Podcast. And I basically said, I've never been winter camping. And he said, well, I've got the whole setup. You want to go? Let's go. And I didn't recognize what he meant by the whole setup, but he does indeed have the whole setup. He's got a little four-wheel drive Subaru with a little bit of a lift on it, big old knobby tires, bigger wheels and all that, with a ladder to climb up onto the back where he pops two clips and a pop-up
Oh yeah.
tent. Yeah. And it's like just like a triangle. So it's like an A-frame, or it's like a lean-to or whatever. But yeah.
And it's on
So
top of the car, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
rooftop tent. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. And so we couldn't go in the winter. We kept trying to schedule and things. And so we finally got it scheduled for this weekend. And previously he said, go on Hip Camp, which is a pretty cool app for just finding neat places to camp. Go on Hip Camp and find a place up there, and I'll drive up there. He's got family, between him and I. And so he said, I'll stop to see my family and hang out. And then I'll be up there, Saturday, early afternoon at the latest. And yeah, so now I go camping. I've never cooked on a stove camping.
Okay.
I've always cooked on the fire.
Yeah.
It's just how I've been, it just is what it is. I like though camping on the stove. It was very cool. And I have to say that the original Blackstone that I heard about was their little 18-inch that you take camping with
Yeah.
you. And that I'm going to looking at it Sunday morning. There was no way. It was a terrible day weather-wise. But I'm like, man, if the kids were here and I just pop up the Blackstone and just, how many eggs do you want? All of them. Give me a
Right.
dozen eggs. Let's cook it. Let's do the thing. So it was really cool seeing all of, his equipment, because he and his dad did a big camping trip a few years ago. So they bought all the things you need, so it was really cool. I did get up there. It's an hour and a half from me to the
Okay.
campsite, and it was up on like the ridge. So I'm looking down into the valley, right? And I just can't quite get the perspective about what's going on in front of me. There's a bunch of, a few houses and a bunch of fields, and then there's this huge field of like kind of mottled. Some is like the brown grass that's kind of dead, and some is like a black, and I'm assuming that's the dirt. And I didn't need binoculars to really get more detail. And I'm looking at it, I'm looking at it, and looking at it. I'm like, that's the lake. That's clouds on the lake. That's
Yep.
clouds making, making blacker spots, and then the brownish spots are what the water looks like. So and it was hilarious. That moment was like, well, aren't you special? You got this one, buddy.
Aren't you
But
precious?
you are so pretty, and it was great though. I got up there. Sean was actually a couple hours late. His aunts and uncles all came in to, have breakfast or, brunch with him, and they cooked for him, and like got up early and made cinnamon rolls and all that stuff, and made us an apple pie.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Nice.
so he spent time. So I got probably 3 hours or maybe 4 just on the property by myself, just being quiet and calm, and
Yeah.
had a cigar, and just not thinking about anything too much, not taking care of anybody other than myself. Just a really good breath of fresh air.
Awesome, man. Especially after like, a season of school and kids and all that kind of stuff to be able to
Yep.
get away like that. That's awesome, man. And
Well,
so you
and
get to spend time just you and Diddy.
yeah. It
That's
was
so
it was great.
cool.
It was great. He's awesome. It was funny because he said, we should do like a podcast episode while we're there. And I'm like, of course, that's great. We always make plans to do that. Sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't.
Right?
And he and I sat down, and conversations are generally with me pretty dynamic. They just kind of show up and they go where they're going to go.
Right.
And we while we're just, I mean, we didn't have the fire going yet. We're just kind of sitting around in the sun. It was very, very, very windy.
Mm,
So I actually had to move from my first site up to the other that had kind of a windbreak, and had a fire pit in the ground as opposed to like a can on the ground, which is what
yeah.
the others were. And anyway, so we get up there and I'm like just sitting around in the sun. Got a little, got a little pink myself, and just talking about everything,
Yeah.
just all the big stuff. We went over a lot about our understanding of spirituality and
Mm,
religion as opposed to other people's understanding, and the the real meaning of belief and faith,
yeah.
where you can't, I don't have a better word than this, than assault. You can't assault someone's faith or belief. You can't, it's impregnable, right? If they have faith that this is a thing, you can't change it. You can't, there's nothing you can do, right? And while that can be a very good thing in some ways, it's also can be a negative. Cults came up. We talked about that for a while. Political cults came up. Talked about that for a minute. And just kind of just chew the fat for several hours, right? While we're getting set up, while everything's going, had a couple of beers, and just having a good time. And then we finally sat down, got the fire going. He got his mic out. We had pizza from his pizza oven,
Nice. There you go.
right? And I'm
That's what
like,
I'm talking about.
what is that? I've
Yeah.
never had pizza, right? At a campsite. Like, you got a propane tank? Yeah, I'll bring it. And he's like, okay, hook it up to the pizza oven. And then I had
Yeah.
like a pre-made pizza dough, and
Yep.
just like in a package, and then sauce and cheese and pepperoni, and slapped it in. It was amazing.
Oh yeah.
But so we had food and we sat down, and there's a storm coming in. So there's like lightning about 10 miles off from us. So we know we're going to get rained on. And we just sit down, and he turns on the mic and does his introduction. And he's like, don't know where this is going to go, if anywhere, but we just want to have like a chat around the fireside. And you probably hear, the highway, you might hear thunder, you might hear the fire, his dog, he's got a new dog.
That's right. Yeah.
And we had nothing to talk about. We did terrible. We'd gone over all the big stuff already, all the fun stuff already. So we ended up talking about our favorite dessert,
Yeah.
as
Well,
far as
there you
like
go.
your dessert from when you were a kid,
Yeah.
like your nostalgia dessert, like
Yep.
what's your treat or whatever, to what you might, think is your favorite dessert now. I went with nostalgia Swiss cake rolls,
Okay.
Little Debbie Swiss cake rolls, because when I was in high school, it was the first time I really got dessert because I had a job, and I took my paycheck straight to the convenience store and bought candy, because it's just we never really had enough candy. And when I found Swiss cake rolls, I bought a box and hid it in my backpack or whatever, and took it into my room where my brothers couldn't see it. And I just ate that. It was the most decadent moment in my life. I'm just like, yeah. And I think there's 8 in a box or whatever. I ate them all. I mean, I was 15, 16, I guess. I had to be 16.
Oh, that's
So it didn't
funny.
hurt me. Like now I couldn't eat a Swiss cake roll. The both of them, I'd be like, oh, I'm good. No,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
full
You're
up.
like, oh,
But
all
back
the
then I was
sugar.
just like, couldn't put them in my mouth quick enough. But
My
yeah.
my no- my nostalgic dessert would be so when I would go to my grandparents' church on my dad's side, my dad's parents, uh, and this is gonna sound really interesting for anybody who's been watching the show Fallout on Amazon Prime because it's not the same thing, although it has the same name. So Jello cake, like the sheet cake, or you know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about? And so it was like actually like it was basically a cake mix and then like Jello mixed in, and so it when it baked, it like actually had like the mixture of both of them in there.
All right.
Unlike the Fallout Jello cake, which was so weird in that show because it was literally like a bunt formed Jello mold on top of an actual like cake. And
which is
I'm
which
like
is very
that's
real.
I'm like, that's I've never seen anything like that before, but hey, whatever. But anyway, yeah, so that would be my nostalgic dessert if I ever came across that when I was at some place. I'm like, I gotta have me a piece of Jello cake.
Right.
So
I will say, like with Swiss cake rolls, they're fine, now, but it's not about what they are. It's what I think about what they are. It's
sure,
how it
yeah.
makes me feel, how I remember those times. Like this was always so good. And now it's like, eh, my palate is perhaps a little more refined than it was when I was 16.
True,
Uh,
true. Okay, yeah.
yeah. So we went over and then he brought out the apple pie, which he'd forgotten about while we were sitting there. And I'm like, okay, so this is amazing. And your aunt made this? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, is she married? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I guess that's fine. I am too. But dang, that's some good apple pie.
But hey, does
Yeah.
she live close? Can you order one every once in a while from her?
Down in Illinois. Yeah. Yeah. It's not too far. Not too far.
There you go. Yeah, you can't beat a good homemade apple pie. That is definitely like a
Yeah.
delicious treat for sure. My grandmother used to do that actually for Christmas when she as she got older before she moved into the nursing home was everybody pretty much was all excited because that's what you were getting for Christmas was grandma's apple pie.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and so she would make like I don't even know 10 or 12 of them up. Like every family got one, so that was
Nice.
that was the like really awesome Christmas gift that everybody was waiting for every year. So yeah, apple pie, man. That's
So
awesome, dude.
if I remember it correctly, Sean's nostalgia one was he'd get home from school and his mom would core out an apple and fill it with butter and brown sugar and cinnamon
Oh gosh, yeah.
and put it in the microwave until it got
Yes.
like that mushy effect to it. And he's describing this. I'm like every day? Did your mom do this every day? This is amazing. I can't imagine. My mom didn't know how to cook, so it's she couldn't burn water, so it's not much that I would expect from her. But I'm imagine come home every day and get like, mm, that's just
You know,
like
you know
apple
how it is
cinnamon.
though with your memories as a kid. Sometimes every day isn't actually every day, you know?
True,
That's
true.
the other part to it. So, but yeah, man, that's awesome. Sounds like a blast, honestly. And I'm kind of jealous because getting to spend time with Sean is always fun. I
Yeah.
usually, I've been up to Columbus a couple times to hang out with Matt. Actually, the last time I was up there, I was supposed to hang out with both of them, but Sean wasn't feeling well, so
Hmm.
didn't get to hang out with him. I think I don't know if he had the flu or something like that. I don't know. He looked like death. When I saw, we were like, "Yeah, you just stay in
You're
there. I'll
you're
talk
you're
to you from
fine. We
afar."
love you from a distance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah, it was cool.
that's awesome, dude. Quick fun story about my our new car. It's in the shop right now.
Oh no.
New technology can sometimes bite you in the butt.
Hopefully you're saying you're just getting a hitch put on and
No,
you're not
I'm
having
not.
any troubles because dang,
No.
that thing's like,
Yeah. So new technology is fun to learn, and I guess I did not realize I needed to check a certain thing. So what happened was is I was like, the kids love going through the car wash. I mean, we pass it all the time going to and from school.
hmm,
And I was like, there's a ton of pollen on it. I was just like, all right, like let's get this thing washed. So I go take it through the car wash, and our car has an automatic windshield wiper setting. So like for instance, like if you put it on intermittent and like it stops
yeah,
raining, it'll actually just stop.
yeah,
And then as soon as water hits it again, it'll start back up without you even thinking about it. Well, you have to check that, by pushing it up as far as it goes and kind of do that like um what do you call it? Like basically like you're getting it to go one more one time like you're
hmm,
pushing it through. I didn't do that and thought that it was just in the off position and went through the car wash, and as soon as the water hit,
uh-huh.
it started going.
Oh no.
And then, of course, it's a car wash that has like the big dangly
Hmm.
cloth pieces, strips.
Hmm.
And so it's going across and it caught the windshield wiper and it
Mm.
bent the heck out of the driver's side arm of the windshield wiper and came over and got caught on the passenger side windshield wiper. And
Oof.
apparently, those things are not held on super tight up above you because I eventually while moving along, like pulled that thing down, like because it was stuck on the car. So like, and it's all cloth, so it literally just like, I mean, it just kind of hit the car, it didn't hurt it or anything like that. But I thought,
Oof.
because I was talking to the kids the entire time, so I wasn't even looking forward. I was talking to the kids, and I turned around. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I thought that it was the car wash that, like, it was their fault. And so I like had sent them a or an email and had reported it through them. And they sent me the video the next day. They were like, nope, your windshield wipers turned on as soon as the water hit it. And I was looking, I was like, gosh, dang it. Like, so
Rain
it's,
sense.
yeah, exactly. So it's at the shop right now getting looked at. And I took it in and Toyota was like, oh, you know, we've not had anybody come in with this situation, but we figured it would happen at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So I'm waiting to see what the damage is going to be on that one.
Oh, I hope it ain't bad. And I hope it's a quick fix too, because I know you want your car back.
Yeah.
You know.
It was really annoying. And too, like the guy was like, wow, he's like, this is like a brand new car. He's like, are you just bringing this in for like some sort of like
Yeah.
overprotective service?
Why
And I'm
are
like,
you
no.
here?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, this car's got less than 1,000 miles on it. What are you doing in here? So yeah.
Whoops.
But
Oh,
that
it
was so
sucks.
that's been what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate to hear that, man. That's awful.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, just gut wrenching with your brand new vehicle. But I will say, at least the arm falling didn't like dent it, you said. So it just
No,
kind of
it
like
didn't do anything like
bumped,
that. Yeah, it didn't
So that's
scratch
good.
it, dent it, or anything like that. It just
'Cause
bent the arm
that's
or
even
whatever.
more expensive a lot of times. It's like
Oh,
ridiculous
yeah.
how I'm like, well, I'll just probably live with that scratch because I can't afford to replace it.
Yeah, that would have been awful if it had done something along those lines. So,
Yeah.
and fun side fact about pollen. Did you know that the reason that there is so much pollen in the air in a lot of places is because uh, a lot of cities and towns have gotten rid of female trees, and just the male trees are there just putting out pollen so that fruit doesn't actually form. So,
Hmm.
you just have all these male trees just spreading their seed everywhere,
That makes perfect sense.
and it's
You
got
know,
nowhere to go except for on your cars
and I'm from Georgia.
and your sinuses.
We have yellow storms.
Oh,
And that pine pollen comes and it's too big. It doesn't give you allergies at least. So, but you walk around and it's the dust bowl. I
yeah.
mean, it's
That,
it's you see people like they're gonna cut down a tree or something. The guy will go in and he'll hit it with a axe or something first to try to get some of the pollen to drop before they actually drop the tree.
ugh,
It's it's
ugh.
it's hilarious.
Oh, that sounds awful. That makes me hurt just thinking about it.
It's all big stuff. Usually it's the small stuff that really gets in, like ragweeds and things like that. So the big
Yeah.
stuff is not as bad, but man, I mean, you can taste it. You know, you go outside and you're like, oh, whoa, yeah,
Oh,
that's pollen. You're eating pollen. You'll be fine.
oh,
Yeah.
no,
But,
thank you.
people want to live in the South. I don't know why,
No, they don't.
but there's so many people here that do. They're like, oh, you're from Georgia. I would love to go to Georgia. I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
sure,
fine.
sure you do.
Beautiful.
Sure.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Amazing. Call me.
that's what people say about, oh,
Call
I'd
me in
rather
a
live in
year.
Florida. And then they get down
Mm-mm.
there and they realize, no, no, that's not what I want to do.
This is not what I thought it was. Yeah. It's like, do you like, was like, I'm going in my workshop and in Georgia, springtime, you go in your work, anytime you go in your workshop, really, you got to find the snake.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Oh my
You just have to
God.
find it, and it might just be, it probably just
No.
be a rat snake or a milk snake, or a king snake, which we had in ours and it was great. Or it might be a copperhead. And that's just how it is. I'm like, and here they have garter snakes and that's it. I mean, literally one kind of snake and it may be 18 inches long tops. And I'm like, I love this. I don't have to worry about brown recluse or black widows everywhere. I feel
Yeah.
like I moved from Australia.
Yep.
I feel like I moved from this death place, which I never recognized. But now that I'm walking around, wait, so I ain't got to worry about no poison sumac. Okay. No snakes, no real bugs, nothing that's going to kill me at least. We got
Yeah.
mosquitoes and ticks, and that's
Mosquitoes and
it.
ticks.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I can handle that. I mean, sure, they can make you sick, but you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
you ain't mosquito isn't waiting underneath a pallet of wood you have in your shop to just kill you,
Yeah. No kidding. Right. Like,
copperheads.
I mean, that's the same thing with Texas too. Like
Oh
like
God,
my
yeah.
buddy in Texas, from high school was like, Yeah, man, Texas is a different place. It's a different world down there. I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, yeah. He's like, everything down there is trying to kill you. I'm like, oh my God,
Hmm.
like, what an awful,
I
what an
believe
awful
it.
thing to be able to deal with.
The weather, everything, animals, everything. It's just like, no, we're going to kill you now. What? Why? Well, that's a scorpion. He's in your boot. You're dead. What do you mean? What? I didn't do anything.
Yep.
Nope.
Now you understand what Woody said. There's a snake
This
in
is
my boot.
that's right. That's right.
We are 169 days now to HomeDadCon.
Nice.
That's exciting, right? It's coming along real quick. The one thing that I wanted to mention, just because I sit on this committee for the convention, is this month of May is the last month for people to submit their applications for scholarship. So if you know somebody who is on the fence about going, and you want to try to help them out, like submit an application for them to see if they can get some assistance. Or if you're somebody who is like on the fence about, I don't know if I'm financially able to go, and it's like I don't know if I can get do this or that. Like that's the other reason for the scholarship. So
Hmm.
submit it, and that way there you have the opportunity to at least say you tried, because we want to get as many dads as possible to the
Yeah.
convention, and we've been very successful in getting quite a few over the past few years. I think last year we had a huge number of dads come through. I think there were like 13 or something like that.
Hmm.
And it's a great honor to be able to get these dads to the convention, and the committee takes great pride in making sure we get as many as possible. So don't hesitate to sign up and get that submitted as soon as possible.
And I think we need to reiterate that the scholarship fund, the Brian Dixon Scholarship Fund, is built and supported through the charity of other dads, the
Yeah.
donations from other dads. These are other dads that have no. Also, we do get some from the t-shirt sales. Portion of our t-shirt sales go towards the subscription. I mean, go to the scholarship. Excuse me. But that the majority of it now from last year is the beer share,
Oh
where
yeah.
basically dads just came in and said, "Look, I'm having a good year. I'm going to put this towards the scholarship fund." Now there were, they had raffles and they had, it was a beer share. And if you liked to, taste different beers, it was a fantastic event for you. But the biggest part of it, as far as the scholarship is concerned, is dads that came in and said, yeah, I want to help other dads get here.
Yeah.
I know how beneficial this is. I know how this is good, how good this has been for me. And I want other dads to be able to make it. So here's $50, and
Yep.
or whatever, there were much larger donations for a few people, right? But it's a matter of, again, our community supporting each other.
Yeah.
It's dads coming to help other dads to get to the convention in this case. And I don't think there's anything that I have experienced other than actually having children, like a baby being born, that has affected me more as a dad than going to the convention. It's
Yeah.
just nothing
Definitely.
compares. It's something that we really want. I mean, we're a nonprofit, but we're also making sure to keep all of our expenses as low as possible so that we can get as many people there. It comes around to convention locations a lot. And they're like, "Oh, why can't you have it in New York?" Because we can't afford New York. What are you talking? There's
Yeah, that's
no
not going to
way we
happen.
can afford New York,
But we
right? And
do find some really cool places to have
we
conventions
do.
at. So
And
that's the
man,
other thing.
St. Louis is going to be, God. The hotel is amazing. The view is the arch is right there. It just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be great. And this is the year too that I would recommend if anybody could come in really early. Heck, even go a day with your kids, because there's so much going on in St. Louis, from the aquarium to the zoo, just everything going on down there that you can really spend some time and have your kids explore a city with you. St. Louis
Yeah.
is great for that. Um,
Yeah,
but
definitely. I mean, there is a lot to be done there. Like, there's a lot to do, and it's all very centrally located where we are too, which is nice.
mhm.
I mean, we've even like I've seen where there are things like the kayaking trip and the pub crawl or brewery tour type thing where they're going to go around to different places, and those all have transportation involved with them too, which is nice as well. Like, and two, like when you put 12 people in a big van or whatever like that, you split that cost on renting a vehicle and it turns into, just dollar bills, like,
Yeah.
it's very minuscule compared to trying to do it on your own. So
Hmm.
I think that's another really cool feature. And also too, like that gives you opportunity to like just hang out in close connection with all those dads and
Yep.
just have that time to hang out. You typically don't get that sort of confined situation where it's like, all right, like we're all here for the next hour in the van and like the jokes start flying and the
Uh-huh.
stories start going and just
Singing,
singing. Yeah,
singing.
I mean, it's just a good old time. Like you'd think that it was like the dad frat or something like that. Like in
Hmm.
some ways, like
Yeah.
just the way
Yeah.
it is. But it's like all dads are welcome kind of deal. Like, it's like we just want to have this opportunity. I know, like for me, when I'm out and about, I'll bring up the fact that there's this annual convention for at home dads, and I get a lot of moms who are like, wow, like I wish there was something like that for moms, like,
Hmm.
and like just where you have these opportunities to hear other people speak and whatnot. And I always say like, it just happened to take somebody who saw the need and really pushed through with it to make it happen. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of sacrifice and volunteering and everything else that gets put into it, and it just continues every year. So I'm very just appreciative of the way that this convention has continued to grow and has continued to flourish actually through different things. I mean, um, I think a lot has been missed, and I guess sometimes even it gets said from time to time, but the fact that we were able to pivot so quickly during the pandemic with our convention to be an online convention and not lose any traction
Hmm.
was huge. I mean, it
Yeah.
really was. Like I would almost consider it like unprecedented how it all kind of took place. Like because to have the amount of speakers and attendees and to pull that off and have the help that jumped in and did the things that needed to be done to make it all take place, like, and to do it all in one day,
Hmm.
um, was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I really think it was the pinnacle thing to um, the way that we did it to continue it on, because there are other there's other conventions out there that just never
Couldn't survive.
recovered. They
Yeah.
didn't recover from it, and so that to me, like that's what makes this whole thing so special. And
Hmm.
it's funny
Oh,
too, because like you talk to people, they're like, "Oh, you only have like 100 guys that show up." I'm like, it's a pretty like, I mean, one, you have to think about the group of people that are coming to this thing. Like, it is sort of a very, I don't want to say like it's not elite. That's not the word I'm looking for, but like
it's niche.
it's
It's
niche. Yeah.
yeah.
It,
You
it-
just
yeah.
don't meet at home dads.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and two, like there's a huge sacrifice that comes from
Hmm.
having an at-home dad coming to this convention, because they have to get a schedule set up to where whoever, the other partner is in the situation can
Hmm.
also like adjust their schedule to take care
Yeah.
of all the things that they do while they're
And
gone.
right. And we've talked about this in the past about setting up your partner for success and things like that. But the
Yeah,
fact that your partner is now going to do their job and yours.
right,
And I think we all know how busy our job is already.
right.
And you're aware too, and then we have a lot of work from home dads and dads that have gone back to the workforce, recognition of how much of the logistics of the home you take care of.
Hmm.
Just that's just what you do. And then add on to that a full-time job.
Yeah.
To be able to ask your partner to do that for you is huge. I still tell you, do it. Ask,
Oh
keep
yeah.
asking,
Oh
make
yeah.
that time, find that time, because the benefits of it. I mean, there are so many people have said, I met my best friend there. We read those stories in a lot of the interviews that we've done too with people, and it's through the organizations done with people. It's like, yeah, I met so and so, and we're best friends now. We talk every day, we talk every week, And that's amazing because we don't have enough friends,
Right.
as dads, even much less as at-home dads. It's just your circle gets smaller and smaller. And that community first is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And then learning that there are people dealing with the same stuff you're dealing with, whatever it might be. I mean, if you go in and you have something that's bothering you and you say, God, I'm going to make something up because I don't want to, put anybody on the spot if they're listening or whatever. But let's say, yeah, it's every time I get in the car with my kids, they lose a shoe. How do you do that? How do you just, we walk from the house, get in the car, and there's a shoe missing? What is this? And you'll find other dads that go, right? How do you do that? How do you possibly not have your shoes on when
No
we just,
kidding.
but whatever things that we run into, that community of people is so uplifting to be
Yeah.
just be able to look at another, especially if you meet people, like if you meet somebody on the kayaking trip, you're going to the kayaking caving trip and you go through and you guys just kind of hit it off and you're hanging out and you're like, this dude is really cool. He does this and this, he's like, this is why I think he's amazing. And then you find out that his kid loses his shoe too. You're like, this guy that looks so capable and so competent and he handles being a dad just smoothly, and yet he's still struggling just like I am,
Right.
and those two things don't seem to fit together. But when you meet people in person and this is their real life just like it's yours, the convention, I can't stress enough how important I think it is for every dad to go to the convention.
Oh,
Seriously.
definitely. Definitely. Well, and I think too, like the other thing is that's I've seen that just really cool about that as well is you get the opportunity to be like, oh, like, we're doing a family trip and we're gonna be coming through like where you're at. Like, oh, this would be a great opportunity for our families to meet up and
Right.
get some time together. And so, it's like, oh, the kids get to play for a while and
Hmm.
us parents get to sit around and talk and get to know each other a little bit better and
Hmm.
kind of build that relationship up as well. So like, yeah, that's the other half of it that I really find interesting because you see that a lot too. Like, oh, hey, like so and so met up and got to, do, camping or whatever it is kind of deal. Or maybe they were just
Yeah.
needing a place to stop and have a picnic while they were traveling
Hmm.
around. Like there's that opportunity
I
as well.
need my kids to run around a yard for a little bit. Can I stop at your house? Yes.
Right.
Yes, you can. Go right ahead. I'll throw some balls out there and y'all just, yeah,
Exactly.
the kids are losing their mind. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's getting to the point where, we're getting down there time wise. Got the summer, of
Hmm.
course, so like that's their thing. Like this is sort of the last month for school
And
for a lot of folks.
that's going to go fast.
Oh yeah,
Anybody out there that's like, we got the summer left. I don't have to worry about getting my convention tickets. Yes, you do, because that
oh yeah,
summer's
you
gone
do.
already, man. You go turn around and go, wait, we're going back to school. What?
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I was telling Corey, I was like, man, I was like, the kids only have like 3 weeks of school left. I was just like, she's like, I'm not ready. I'm like, you're not ready. I'm
Right.
like, I'm like, I love you.
Right. You're
You
adorable.
get to hide behind that door. I guarantee, I understand you get to hear them scream and holler and whatnot, but like, I'm the one that's gonna be, kind of
In it.
juggling them and my own thing and whatnot. And we've gotten pretty good at balancing it all. So, but I'm just like, yeah, you actually get the ability to say like, I have a meeting and I can't interact. Whereas like for me, like I have to be way more flexible in that.
Hmm.
So, and it's fine, but it's just funny at the same time. You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know
But
it's going to be stressful, and it is. And we each face our own kinds of stress, but seriously, you don't get it. You
yeah,
just don't get it.
I I will say I'm very excited about this summer though because like we have Kings Island passes. So
Yeah.
that's a whole new element for our family because that means like we can go, to an amusement park and ride roller coasters and just like that's a lot of like already put together entertainment where all
Hmm.
you get to do is just walk around and like enjoy it kind of deal. And then
Hmm.
also on top of that too, there's lots of other dads who have kids who are the same thing. And they're just looking for, I don't really want to ride these rides or I would rather go stand in line with
That's me.
another adult and talk with them while my kids like are telling crazy stories and whatever else while they're in line trying to figure out how to, you know, keep from being bored. And so that connection, the zoo is another big one. Just going to the parks and stuff like that too is always kind of a nice break from
Hmm.
everything. But just planning those things out and getting guys together and kids together is one of the fun parts about the summer, but it also breaks up some of the other stresses in life. So I like that. But here we are. We're 3 weeks out from that all starting up again.
Right. Right. You can feel the plane coming in for a landing.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
you'd say, yeah, 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 yeah. About three, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Well, you may crash. You may not be ready for what's going to happen.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so many things to do in the summer is the biggest part of it. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm looking at actually sending my younger kids to a camp,
There you go.
like with the YMCA or whatever, just an overnight at least, maybe a couple of days or a week, not to get rid of them though, although that'll be fine. I'm good with them
Yeah.
having their time away from the house, but to experience that,
Yes.
just to get out there and sleep somewhere else, and it's so, I feel like even if it can be a little scary and a little daunting, it's so enriching to go out, sleep in a cabin somewhere, get bit by a mosquito, and just like burn your marshmallow and just do all those things. And that's how you move forward,
Yeah.
in life. It's like, oh, okay, I don't have to hold my marshmallow and do that fast. And I definitely need bug spray. Yeah, good job. Those things that your dad told you 9 times, you got them now. You learn these lessons on your
Yeah.
own.
Well, I
So
mean, Hezekiah is graduating elementary school and going into junior
sweet.
high.
All
And
right.
so he actually we signed him up for they call it church camp. It is not church camp because it's not at like a lake in the woods kind of deal. It's at a college camp, like a Christian college campus about an hour up the road. But it's a week-long conference. It's
Hmm.
it's got, it's like a youth conference basically.
Sweet.
And I'm very excited for him because he's never done anything like this before. But I remember going and doing, like, Corey and I both remember going to a convention like those, and
Hmm.
it's it's eye-opening. It is going to stretch you and like challenge you and things like that. But you kind of come back a different kid.
Hmm.
And you know, our we have our own like kind of hopes and dreams for what it will happen, but at the same time too, like my hope is that he just kind of like opens up a little bit more, comes back with a
Hmm.
little bit more confidence, that kind of thing. And you can only
Yeah.
do so much of that yourself as a parent. It's
Yeah.
putting them in situations where like outside of the typical supportive circle that things take place. So yeah,
Hmm.
so he's doing that for a week in June, and so I'm excited to just kind of see what takes place because
Awesome.
it's like they get done with school in May, the end of June he does that, and then you got July and August before he goes back to school. So
Right back. Yeah.
yeah, so
And I
things like
feel like
that are good.
I feel like that's a very good description of how dads parent. As
Yeah,
in, so I'm the stable, solid, trusting, loving base. This is where we are. You're here, you're safe, I'll take care of you. You want to go over there, you do want to go over there, in fact. And it's going to be, these are the things you might run into. These are my warnings for you. Like you need to go when you go to camp, again, bug spray or whatever. These are the things that you'll run into. That's going to be difficult. That might be hard, but I'm here for when you come back. And I'm
yep.
going to send you out and I'm going to let you fall down. I'm going to let you, you're riding your bike, you're going to fall off your bike. And I'm going to be there to help you get back on your bike and keep going. And eventually you're like, no, I don't fall off my bike. No, I
Hmm.
know how to ride. I know how to do everything. And it's the same with camp. I feel like it's the same with deep breath, college. Whew, man, but that's how I feel parent a lot of times. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying that moms can't do that or don't do that, but I'm more experienced in how dads parent. I haven't seen how a lot of moms parent, they just don't have that experience. But with fathers, we're the safe place. I will protect you here. And that's what I will tell you about out there. That's dangerous. Yes, you can fall out of a tree, right? Or whatever it might be.
yeah,
And including this is what you need to think about when you're driving.
yeah.
Imagine that. That's coming quick for you too.
I know, right?
And it's like, wait, wait. wait.
It's 5 years off. Yeah, no,
My
it's like
kid
that.
just
It's
took
like
the
that.
keys and left. My kid took the
Oh,
keys and
phew.
left in the car. That new Highlander is out on the road with my son, and
Yeah.
he's going to go get us a jug of milk.
Hmm.
And
Well, it's
you,
like the video. Have you seen the video of the dad in the car with his son driving for like out on the road for the first time? And like he's coming up to an intersection where there's a red light and there's a cop stopped in the lane and like he's not slowing down all that much. And the dad's like, stop, 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 stop. And like he stops like just before and he looks over me. He's like, what were you thinking? Like, like you're just trying to get your first accident out of the way and have the police like immediately there for it.
they're there
Like,
to help you. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get it done, Dad. Ready? Brace yourself. Uh,
yeah. But no, I agree. Like it is definitely a good scenario for opportunity for growth. The other thing too is that with that it comes into play is they get to see things that you've said to them. Like the proof in the pudding type of deal.
yeah.
It's like you know, I can tell you, hey, make good choices because if you don't, like, there are consequences that come into
Right.
play. It's a whole nother thing when you're out there and you see the people that you're running around with, or people that are just outside of the people that you're running around with, making bad choices and
Mm-hmm.
the consequences that come with it. Because that is, those are like educational things that you try to tell them, but of course, we're the parents. Like, you're not going to listen to your parents, type of thing. And it's so frustrating. But I can remember that when I was a kid too. And my dad would always just say, like, be wise about who you choose to be your friends and who you choose to be around, because in certain situations, like if you're involved with a group and they do something, like you too can be liable, even though maybe you never actually partook in it. However, you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sometimes all it takes. And
Yep.
that has always stayed with me. And so, it's one of the ways that kept me out of trouble when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if
Yeah.
I ever got in a situation where that I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound good. Like, I remember in college specifically, I had told a friend of mine, he was like, hey, we're gonna go to this party. I'm like, great. I'm like, if this party has drugs at it, I'm fine with alcohol, whatever. Like, that's not a big deal. But I was like, if this party has like drugs at it, I'm out. And
Mm-hmm.
got there and there are a lot of people and he disappeared and I couldn't find him. I went upstairs to go look for him and sure enough, like just a whole bunch of people sitting around in one room doing drugs. And I was like, nope, I'm out. Like I just yelled it and walked out. And he's like, whoa, 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 wait, man. I was like, I explicitly told you this was my
Mm-hmm.
number one rule. And I end up walking like 2.5 miles home in the winter
Ugh.
because there wasn't, I mean, this was before Uber. So
Yeah.
not that I probably would have had money for it anyway.
I was going to say it was
I'd
before you
probably,
could afford Uber too.
yeah, exactly. But it's just, I had very specific boundaries put in place and just stuck to them. So that's, those are the things I want my kids to also have. And I think that most of us would say that's probably the same thing. Like you want your kids to understand there are certain things you need to put, a flag in the ground and say, this is, I'm not moving off of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That old
Right?
phrase.
No,
You
that's a great
do
phrase.
have to make your stance. You have to say sometimes, this is as far as I'll go.
Yep.
And, you know, they said it in the Harry Potter movie that standing up to your enemies or whatever is difficult, but standing up to your friends is even more so. Like when Neville
Yes.
stood up and said, I can't remember what he said, but, but it was a very good lesson that you love you, well, maybe love, but you like your friends, you want to hang out with them, you want them to like you, but you have to have that line.
Oh yeah.
If they're over on the other side of it, you have to tell them that's not where I can go, or that's dangerous. You shouldn't be doing that, and you need to back off. But again, the other phrase is if your friends were jumping off a bridge, would you jump off too?
Oh yeah.
And honestly, a lot of kids are like, well, I mean, I didn't think it would hurt. Yeah, I jumped off too. And this, okay. Well, now you're all wet, aren't you? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
So that's kind of what's on the horizon for the next few months and getting things put in place. So my hope is that next week and the upcoming weeks here, we're going to get some of these speakers on and start chatting with them because I'm very
Hmm.
curious. There's
We
quite a
have a
few
couple of
sitting in here.
guests coming in that are not part of the convention yet. We have other guests that wanted to be on the show uh,
Yeah.
before that. But yeah, we've got the technically every single speaker that is confirmed, we send them a confirmation letter and say, we'd like you to come speak. And they have to return their information, like bio headshot and all that. But part of that is the link to our Calendly.
Nice.
And people should be able to just find it and get it. We also have a guest we had on at least 18 months ago or so who's coming back, who
Okay.
was writing a book. And if you remember the book, Help Me Give a Shit,
Oh, yes, I do.
they have contacted us and they will be scheduling.
Oh, that's gonna be
And
good.
yeah, because they're ready to publish and they're like, so how many free copies of that book do I get? Just one for Brock? Is that how it usually goes? It's just one for Brock. I need the book, man. I'm the reader, he's the listener. But
I know
yeah, but
mine's audio only.
right, yeah, yeah. It's like this is neat. I'm going to send it to Danny. Yeah,
There you
okay,
go.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, but they're coming back, and then we had someone that their publicist, I guess, contacted the organization and said, "Hey, this looks like a good fit. You might want to be on there," and we'll talk more about that. But
Okay.
it was very professionally done. I
Cool.
have to admit what they get from us is me sending them an email. Hey, you want to be on the show? So I need to get a separate email that's I'm the publicist email. It's like, oh no, it's the same guy. Yeah, but this is my different email so that I
Hey
look
man, we have our
professional.
podcast at homedad.org email. Come on,
Right?
man.
Let's go. Reach out. But
So,
yeah, so we have guests coming in and we
okay.
have also the board nominees. We do want
Yeah.
to get them on and at least have a segment from each one of them so that everybody gets a chance to get to know who they are. Our board nominees are the slots are full kind of in a way because we have two openings and three nominees. But if you want to be on the board, you should put your name in the hat. You
Yeah.
should step
Yeah.
up and stand out and say, "This is something that I want to do."
I mean, you get
Even
that
if there's
opportunity too
limitations.
at the convention as well during the annual meeting to be able to stand up and say, I
Hmm.
want to run type of deal. But I
But
find
you won't be
like,
on the podcast. Just
well, I
saying.
also feel like too, like that can be a tough thing because where everybody else has had the chance to kind of campaign, get themselves out there, you get to see who they are, to be able to stand up in a group of people and say, like, I want to run for the board, like I mean, more power to you to do it, but I keep your expectations balanced as well, because that's asking a lot for
Hmm.
somebody who just like, you get a few minutes to sort of like say a few things, but it's just not the same as having put your name out there early. So
Yeah, and
hopefully,
people get to know you.
yeah, exactly. And that too. So
But we're open to any members who want to be on the board. We're
yeah,
we're absolutely open to it. I don't want to ever sound like, oh no, we're full up. I didn't mean like that. But there's only two slots. Well, mine is open too, but I'm staying. So you guys, you don't get my slot. Okay.
you better have
No.
pens or something, man,
I'm
because
oh, I'm
I'm
ready
not sure
something
I'm
like
vote.
buttons or
Yeah,
something.
something.
Just be like, hey, vote for Danny.
I was gonna say, man, like I need to be I need to be what's the word I'm looking for here?
Swayed, convinced,
Swayed can yeah,
paid. No.
uh paid. Wow.
If
Okay.
anybody sees me slipping Brock a five at any point, it's not for his vote. Okay. I owed him $5.
Danny just walks up and just starts handing me bottles from the mini bar.
Right. How's it going, buddy? How about, and I do get drink tickets just like everybody else, and I never use them. So who do I come find? My
who,
buddy Brock.
who do I need votes from? Okay, here
Right,
you go.
right.
Have a drink
That would
ticket.
be funny.
Drink
I
ticket
would
of
go
it.
to like I would go to like one of the other nominees. You're a nominee, right? What's your vote worth? Is it one drink ticket? Maybe two? I've got two here. No, no, I would do that. The guys we have coming in are great, and
Oh
it's
my gosh.
always good to have new people joining the board. But I don't want to go anywhere personally. I
I don't want
really
you to go anywhere either.
hitting my stride, and I really feel like I'm starting to do things that are beneficial to the network.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
board. So I want to
Well, that's
stay.
cool, man. I'm excited for that. So that's sort of what's going on, and we'll
Hmm.
keep everybody up to date on things. But other than that, there's really not much to talk about at this point. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll be back next week with more fun conversations. So y'all have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.